First of all, thank you very much for having me here. I can't believe it. I'm really humbled to be surrounded by so many great entrepreneurs. I am Roberta Elizondo. I am representing my beautiful country of Mexico. And I want to start by saying a phrase that really got my attention a couple of weeks ago, which is this: a business is a reflection of who we are. And if this is true, then it really got me thinking, then who am I? Trying to answer this question, I figured out that I'm actually a bunch of things. I'm a woman born and raised in Mexico. I'm passionate about social service. I'm a world traveler and have had the blessing to travel to more than 40 countries. And of course, I'm a student. I study business entrepreneurship, and I'm currently doing a master's in digital marketing. I come from a small family in Mexico. I am a daughter and I am a sister. And I'm also a sister of a very special person, a guy named Patricio. Patricio passed away a couple of years ago because of sickness. And I'm sure he came to our family to teach us that life is shorter than what we expect and that we gotta make the most out of the time that we do have. Knowing this, I knew from the beginning that living my dreams for tomorrow has never been an option. So I started building on my project since I was really small. My first business, I was the donut distributor in my primary school's black markets. Obviously, I got caught and got my first business shut down. Then I had a juice store, but it was not really profitable. I had a photography and a music business for events, but it was really time-consuming and not really scalable. I even had a pizzeria, and even after a year of investing time and money, we didn't even get to the break-even point. We did all type of activations, changed the menu, but we had to shut it down and start again from zero. I learned that when trying to do a business, you better do an MVP to save time and money. And even though having this business was really fun, they were only transactional. They were not fulfilling what is important for me. I needed something meaningful. I've been involved and passionate about social service since a very young age here in Mexico. And 7 years ago, I really wanted to go to another part of the world to be a volunteer. But to my surprise, there were really few options of organizations that could take me to this place. Zero of them in Mexico, and those in the United States and in Europe charged a ridiculous amount of money to go and help. So how could I do this by myself? Well, I contacted a person that was the one in charge of a homestay in Kenya who opened doors for me to go as a volunteer. I spent my complete life savings to make this trip, and this trip actually taught me 3 really important things. One, that volunteering is no piece of cake, and that if you wish to do an improvement in a community, you better learn from it before you try to help. 2, that volunteering has a dark side, and if you don't prepare yourself, you can harm communities instead of benefiting them. And 3, it taught me that I really wanted to change how volunteering has done. And that's when I created my first NGO, Amani. I built up a social media account, started inviting people, and started for the next 3 years sending groups of volunteers to do social projects in this community, doing all types of projects with the objective to improve these children's lives. But I figured out something. I was getting stuck. I always depended on a donation to keep helping. So that's when I took a turn, a pause, and transformed this NGO into a social business. But how can I make a volunteering program self-sustainable and economically viable? The answer, building up the right team and mixing it with tourism. I partnered up with a school classmate named Alex. He had been a former UN volunteer in a refugee camp in Zambia with a very strong business and financial sense. Together, we decided that we could mix 2 of our greatest passions in one same experience, volunteering and tourism, and make this project self-sustainable. And that's when Travelers with Cause was born, the first social business in Mexico that takes groups of young people to travel with a cause. We do social projects in rural communities in 30 different countries around the world, mixing it with touristic itineraries in one same experience. We want to change the speech of how volunteering is done. So we contacted experts and mentors in the area and developed our own methodology on the right practices to do volunteering. I want to change the youth mindset on all of these topics, so I built up an Instagram account to talk about them that currently has reached more than 100,000 people. We figured that children development, women empowerment, animal conservation, environment conservation, home building, and health were the topics that we needed to focus on to actually make an impact in these communities. And these are the places that we currently have projects on. let's talk about impact. Well, we generate impact in 3 different ways. We generate it in our volunteers, in our communities, and in the plans. With our volunteers, well, we're trying to change the mindset on how volunteering is done through a methodology based on a book and worldwide movement named Learning Service. Learning Service explains that if we don't prepare for volunteering, we can harm communities instead of benefiting them. And it also invites us to take this superhero cape off and learn from communities before we help them. We've been able to send abroad more than 600 travelers. We've accumulated more than 57,000 hours of service. And that statistic that makes me most proud of is that 3% that after traveling with us generate their own social initiatives. I like to see Travelers with Cause as an incubator of global empathic citizens and new social initiatives. In our communities, well, our goal is to create sustainable projects in each of our communities. We're currently working in 30 countries, and we've given better life opportunities, better educational opportunities to more than 5,000 children, medical treatment to more than 2,000 children, and supported more than 600 women in gender equality campaigns. And we've also built houses for families around the world, like Rosa and Antonio here in the picture. They lost their complete home a couple of years ago in a Mexican earthquake. Together, we built up a team and started a program to restore the antique eco-building techniques to these communities, partner up with locals, and got their home rebuilt. And Rosa and Antonio is just one example of the many families we've been able to support. And of course, the most important of all, our planet. We've been able to rescue more than 400 animals from abuse. We've put in species protection programs more than 1,000 animals. We've planted more than 6,000 coral fragments in the Ribera Maya here in Mexico. And we've organized more than 8 beach cleanups. And who makes this possible? My dream team. We have a team of 32 people with different areas, including travelers management or customer support, social development, marketing and communication, and our B2B team who is in charge of making all the important alliances with schools and other businesses. We can't leave behind that this is a social business and a profitable one. Our business model is based on a commission that we charge our travelers for organizing them the complete experience, where 40% of the money goes for donation on the social projects, 30% goes for accommodation, meals, and tours, 10% for travel insurance, and that extra 20% is our margin. In our first year operating, we made revenue of $50,000 US. In our next year, we grew and made $350,000 US. And in our most challenging year, 2020, we were able to make $100,000 US. And I'm proud to call ourselves tourist industry COVID survivors. But how did we survive? Well, we had to do different strategies with our team, with our allies, and with our clients. We had to reduce the amount of team and became a multidisciplinary team. We made remote donation campaigns, remote volunteers, and opened new opportunities inside of Mexico. And with our clients, we gave them flexibility, free changes, and cancellation insurance. All of these strategies resulted in a positive way. In this first quarter of 2021, we already have more than 450 applicants, which also results in forecasts of around $400,000 US of revenue by the end of the year. And what comes next? Well, we're currently in a process of research and mentorship to make even more sustainable projects in each of our communities. Our goal is to eventually stop going to these communities because projects are so well done and so sustainable that they don't need to receive any type of volunteers. We're also investing in technology to expand our platform and our services and reach to new global markets. My ambition is to change how young people travel. We figured that young generations want to travel with a purpose. So we are creating a new travel economy based not only on pleasure, but in real social impact. Together, let's spin around how volunteering is done. Thank you very much.
Roberta, thank you very much for that fantastic presentation, full of energy. I am about to hand over to the judges, and the first question will come from Bill, and then we will proceed to Shannon.
Hi, Roberta. Can you hear me?
Yes, of course. Hi, nice to meet you.
That was really, really well done. My mother's name is Roberta, so.
Oh, nice.
I appreciate your time. Real quick, love the presentation, really comprehensive. A quick question about the 20% margin. How does that margin then get distributed back into the growth of the business?
Okay, well, for that 20%, around 8% goes to operational costs, not operational, administrative costs, and the rest is profit. Most of the time, we invest half of the profit again into the business for new technology, for new projects, for new alliances, and yeah, that's basically how it usually works.
Thank you very much. Good luck.
You're welcome, Bill.
Thank you. Shannon, over to you.
Hi, Roberta. Really fantastic job. I'm from Seattle, and looking forward to traveling to some of the places that you are focusing on. How are you? This is a huge, huge endeavor that you have. How are you balancing school with this, and what are your plans for your education?
I love your question. Nice to meet you. I'm really passionate about learning. I believe that learning never stops. And actually, I have a quite good benefit because I studied business entrepreneurship. So actually, to graduate, you have to have a functional business. So there's a really strong merge within my school and my project. And actually, fun fact, the school is so involved in the project that even when we got established, like legally established in Mexico, the school paid for it. So we have a lot of support from part of our school, and they invite us to keep working in our projects in the business school.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Roberta, Brad, your question.
Roberta, your energy is fantastic. Thank you so much. Quick question. Something you mentioned in your presentation was one of your learnings was the darker side of volunteering. And it sounds like that's part of kind of the magic of what you're doing is an intentional understanding of what the needs are. So could you share sort of what you discovered in that and the darker side of volunteering and how you're specifically addressing it? Sounds like a unique angle that you're able to address.
Of course, I love it. It's my passion. Well, it's not my passion, the dark side. It's my passion to do the opposite. But okay, it's a very long topic, but I'll try to be very brief. So the volunteering industry has grown hugely in the past years. So it has also had a lot of research on the benefits of doing volunteering. And there has been a lot of studies. There's a really good book that I mentioned before named Learning Service. It's a worldwide movement you can read that explains if you don't do volunteering in the right way, you can harm communities. And I mean, imagine someone that has never touched a brick before and wants to go in a community and build a house with no companionship, with no mentorship, with no guidance. Of course, this house won't be safe for the people living there. So that's just like one example, right? So what we do is that we do a local network and alliances with the locals to do projects that they actually want to do and are their priority. And we have local leaders to give them follow-up to all of our projects, and we train our volunteers before traveling. We have a very concrete process and filter to accept volunteers. We train them, and we partner with locals to do sustainable projects in each one of the communities.
Roberta,
awesome.
We've got questions here. Let's go to our GSEA chair, Jessica.
Roberta, thank you so much for being here with us. I love this idea. I'd like to learn a little bit more about your business. Who is your leadership team and how did you select them?
Okay, my team we're currently at a team of 32 people. My co-founder is Alex. He's a super person. He had been a former volunteer in a refugee camp in Zambia. So he has all this passion and devotion for volunteering, but he also has a very strong business sense. So we made a great team. So we're co-founders. And then we have different areas, including travelers management, which is customer support, gives all the attention to our travelers. And we have people underneath the manager of the travelers. So we have around 7 people managing all our volunteers. Then we have our marketing and communication. Social media is our main sales channel. So it's very important for us to be clear in communication and also stand out all these benefits of doing volunteering with us in a clear way. So we put a lot of attention in marketing and communication. We have social development, obviously, which we have partners with gurus in different areas of social development that give advice on how to do better projects in each of our communities. We also have our B2B team, which is in charge of the sales that are not directly with the client, but with schools, universities, and other businesses who want to organize trips with us. And well, accountant, finance, and technology, we currently have a technology group because right now we're in a process in which we are investing in a new platform. So we are really close to that technology team.
Sounds like you've got a solid structure there, Roberta. Thank you. Sanjay, your question, please.
Thank you. Hi, Roberta. It's amazing how you've made a social business sustainable. So that's great to see. My question is, where do you see yourself personally about 5 years down the line? You know, how do you see yourself? Will you be doing this? What do you see for yourself 5 years down the line?
Okay, I love the question. I think if I have something clear in my life, is that I want to be a social entrepreneur. I love the idea of creating. Like really, it amazed me how something that is in our head can transform into reality. So that's my passion. And today, that idea is named Travelers with Cause. Maybe the day of tomorrow we could have another name. You never know, life changes. And I think that's one of the greatest lessons that COVID came to teach us. But if I'm sure of something is that I will be a social entrepreneur, and the idea that I generate, I will always try to generate an impact in other people's lives.
Thank you.
About 3.5 minutes left. Rosemary, your question.
Yeah, it's amazing what you've built, Roberta. So it's wonderful. So congratulations. My question to you is, how do you build trust? Because communities who will allow you to go in and help them need to trust you. And how did you get to know them? Because it's all over the place, all the countries that you mentioned and you showed us. How did you reach out? Did you work with an organization or a network of NGOs? How do you reach them?
Yeah, thank you very much for your question. Nice to meet you as well. Yes, actually what you're saying is quite important, and it's one of the things that our business is based on, those relationships. So we need to cultivate strong relationships with locals, and that alliance have been developed in different ways. At the very beginning, we made those alliances by traveling. Like literally we're all travelers, and we had to knock doors and, hey, let's do this. You have a project, I have a project, let's do this together. And we became friends with the locals. So that's how we started growing first. And we've also get to some communities because of recommendations, because of people who have already been there, who connect us, and then we start talking what we can do together. And in these recent years, like in the past months, it's changing a bit. Now, communities and local NGOs and allies are reaching out to us to work together. So that's how it's been evolving.
2 minutes left. Kishore?
Yeah, fantastic presentation, Roberta. I would agree with Brad. Great energy. Have you ever failed? Have you ever failed with a 32 people team, which is not small by many standards? Have you ever failed, and how was it like? Could you share?
Of course, I failed many times. As I mentioned in the presentation, I started building projects since I was really small. So I've tried all types of things, from being the donut distributor in the primary school, having my pizzeria, having my photography and music business for events. So I have had like 10 businesses, and none of them worked. So each of them has been a failure, but each of them also taught me something that make my following business to be better. So I think failure is just part of the process, and you better learn from it to keep growing.
Okay, Dr. Susan, over to you.
Thank you for sharing this beautiful vision. I want to understand a little bit more about your team. So how many of the 32 are full-time, and what roles are missing for you to fully realize the vision?
Okay, of the 32, 12 are not in that, like in the full-time team. They come and go because we have an alliance with a university that sends us people to do social service in like interns with us. So those people change like every 6 months, and the rest are like full-time working with us. And the dream team, like what I imagine, that this could grow, well, actually, I would love to eventually expand our network of presence in other countries. I don't know if that means
We're at time there. We have to try and be really strict. Just finish the last word that was in your mouth.
Okay,
there.
We're just trying to expand our networks and maybe do a network of ambassadors, of travelers with cause in different countries, like not just only in Latin America, but all around the world. And in that way, we could build an even more strong team within our company.